Welcome to EXI Flow Measurements, second video in a series about the SFC3000 supervisory flow computer. In this second video we're going to look at the various option boards that are available to order with an SFC3000. Rather than just reading through a dry list of each board's features, we will start by discussing the interfaces available and some details about their use and limits. Then look at what combinations come with each option board. Please refer to the manual for individual function pin numbers. Manuals can be downloaded via the contact page on our website. The option boards can be divided into two types, input-output and communication. The input-output boards are used for measurements and results, outputs and control. Typically a system will have one input-output for each stream, although it is possible to have more than one stream per input-output board. For physical measurement it is usually required to have a board per stream. The communication boards allow for connection to a variety of other devices and systems, such as gas chromatographs, printers, supervisory computers, etc., via either serial or Ethernet connections. As the name suggests, input-output boards have a variety of input and output interfaces. The inputs can be subdivided into three categories: digital, HART, and analog. The optically isolated digital inputs can be used for either frequency or status inputs. This simplified example circuit shows each digital input has two links, one to short the default 2K2 resistor for 24 volt DC operation and the other to connect the negative side to the common 0 volt 24. By default, when shipped, both switches are set to the open position, so the inputs are set to operate from 24 volt DC with external 0 volts. If a supply voltage other than 24 volts is to be used as an external resistor of the correct value to restrict the current to 10 mA is required. Suggested external resistor values are 1K5 for 15 volts, 1K1 for 12 volts and 510 ohms for 5 volts. It should be noted that the switch element could be connected in the negative half of the circuit. The HART communication interface can accommodate up to 3 sensors per loop with individual addresses or one in burst mode. The simplified example circuit is shown with a barrier module, but sensors can be connected directly. The 4 to 20 mA analog input and 4-wire PT100 PRT input are converted to digital values via a 16-bit ADC. The 4 to 20 mA analog inputs have a common negative side, so sources should be wired in the positive side. The 4-wire PRT input is wired as normal, as shown in the example circuit, A with C and B with D, and using 1 mA current has a nominal measurement range of -20 to 100 degrees centigrade. Outputs can be subdivided into two categories, digital and analog. The optically isolated digital outputs are used for pulse, status or control. The transistor outputs have a maximum rating of 20 mA and 30 volt DC. Please note there is no current limited resistor, so care is needed when selecting the load element. The analog outputs are selectable as either 0 to 20 mA or 4 to 20 mA with a 16-bit resolution. The maximum loop resistance is 750 ohms. It should be noted the I/O boards have a single or non-isolated serial port with RS485 and RS232. These are mostly intended for connection to meters via a barrier module, but can be used for most functions. This flow diagram will help choose which input-output board for your application and can also be found in the article How to Specify SFC3000 Hardware for Ordering. As you can see, a few relatively simple questions allows the correct I/O board to be selected. This table compares the input-output boards against each other and show how many of each interface is available. All 4 input-output boards can have up to 3 frequency inputs, which can also be used as switch inputs. The prove a corrected bus frequency output on the digital and analog boards can also be used as normal pulse or status outputs. On the analog board, digital outputs 4 and 5 are selectable to be analog input 4 and analog output 3 respectively. Factory default is set as analog input and output. The switch input-output board only has digital inputs and outputs. 6 are switchable on the board. Communication boards come in 2 variations. Functionally very similar, the main difference is 1 or 2 Ethernet ports. Both have 3 magnetically isolated RS485 and RS232 serial ports, one of which has RTS and CTS signals for older printers. The 3000-305 communication board has a single 100 base T Cat5 Ethernet. The 3000-308 dual Ethernet network board has 2 Ethernet ports. All communication interfaces are via RJ45 sockets. Each RS485 port has switch links for termination resistors, including on the input-output boards. Please see the EXI Flowmation website for more information and downloads via the contact page. Thank you for watching.